let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Look, obviously coming off their first 400-yard performance against the Cincinnati Bengals last week in a long time. Faulkner seems to be doing a solid job as the new offensive coordinator. And I think it's just another indication of how much Matt Canada was holding this football team back. And now we're starting to see some reports of a lot of more smart moves that Faulkner is making running the offense. Let's get right into the report. This is from Behind the Steel Curtain, a good blog site. If you throw up the article, we will read from it. All right, more than anything, Faulkner involved all the assistants in explaining in greater detail why everything happened. Talk about offensive structure. Those concepts and ideas put everyone on the same page. Interestingly, most of the communication errors seems to have dissipated. If anything, they over-communicated, talking about practice since Faulkner took over, discussing not just each play call they would like, but also why they would call them. The emphasis there, of course, is why. Sullivan and Faulkner went into a great deal about what to expect from the plays. Not only did they explain the why of the play call or tell the guys which call to expect, they also went into specific route depth versus certain leverages, how to play against these coverages, what shoulder the ball should be thrown on, and hammering home the particular details of each play. In other words, there was no wondering about the play now that Faulkner's in charge. The receivers knew how to stem their routes, they knew how to play against specific leverages, and the call they would see from the Bengals, all that got hammered out before they even stepped on a field. I think there's an important thing to make here of how Faulkner's running this offense. I think it was clearly an error in Matt Canada's ways. And this was the problem when you go college offensive coordinator. When I played college football, obviously, it's the same way now. You've got 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids. Kind of stupid. We've all been around that age. I apologize to anyone that's around that age watching the video. You're not as smart now as you are going to be in a few years. Trust me, you get a whole lot smarter. And in that case, when you're calling plays for those kind of college athletes, you got to dumb it down. You got to just say, hey, do this and don't think twice. When you get to the NFL, it's a whole different ballgame. Dealing with grown men, you're dealing with smart football minds, professionals. Some of these guys are 30, 35 years old. A lot of these guys are the smartest, most athletic physical specimens on the planet. You have to explain the why. Why am I running the route this way? Why am I going in motion like this? And if you're not explaining the why, you're not getting buy-in. And when you're not getting buy-in, you're not getting results. I think this is one of the key differences now with Faulkner running the offense as opposed to Canada. The players are buying in because they understand why they're doing what they're doing. And this is just another example of the big time change that Faulkner has brought to the offense. And I think it's a smart decision, sort of an obvious decision based on what Canada was doing, but still give credit where credit is due here. Faulkner doing a great job. Myers, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, but first, Steelers fans, look, big matchup this weekend. You got a lot of big games coming up down the stretch here. You got the Cardinals, Patriots, Colts, and then the Bengals. You start off with the Cardinals this Sunday, kind of a sneaky good game. The Cardinals play a lot of teams close. Kyler Murray looks really good. Give us your prediction, final score, Cardinals, Steelers, in the comment section below. But Myers, what do you think of these comments from Faulkner of the changes they made to the offense and the impact it'll have going forward for the Steelers team?
Yeah, Nick, no, I think Faulkner has done an excellent job here already. Just one game in, he's probably just tinkered with stuff a little bit. I don't think the full effect of what he can bring to this offense has really even taken a hold of it. But I'm going to hit you with a stat, Nick. I know it's going to blow you away, so hold on to your socks here. I'm going to tell you two things. First of all, the highest amount of passing attempts Kenny Pickett threw was week 1 versus San Francisco. That was 54. Since then, they've averaged mid-20s to low 30s every game as far as passing plays run. They ran 40 plays, so second most passing attempts he's had all season. So a pretty big sample size for a game. He had a 91.8 passer grade per PFF, 91.6 overall offensive grade. Just in one game, one offensive coordinator change, one simpling down everything, just making everything a little bit nicer, a little bit easier, more communication. Kenny Pickett has had his highest grade of his entire career. He looks like a completely different quarterback, and I think that's all you really need to hear. If you see that, the highest grade he had all season before this, like 79, and that was against the Rams, a little beat down. They had a good game that game, but a 79 versus a 91, that's a huge jump. That's like, 12 points right there? That's such a big jump that I am really stunned that it made that big of a difference. But clearly Faulkner, either Canada probably was that big of a problem, but Faulkner has made a huge difference on this offense already. And I think that if we wait, just give it a couple more weeks, offense is really going to start rolling. I think the scoring is going to get up there like the way that it needs to be. And we're going to see something really incredible from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You bring up a great point talking about the performance of Kenny Pickett week to week, because it's one thing to understand, right? This is a team game. We get very focused on the quarterback, as we should. Quarterback is the most important position on the field, bar none. But the reality is you need all 11 guys acting in concert with the play and with each other to execute. So if you have guys not trusting what their coaches are telling them, guys not trusting the technique or the strategy, that's the under Matt Canada. He didn't explain why. He would just say, Deontay Johnson at 6 yards this week, you're breaking it in cut. And Johnson's like, why? I break it 7 yards every time, so I'm just going to stick at 7. Kenny Pickett's expecting him at 6. Miscommunication, incomplete pass, maybe it's an interception. Who knows, right? Offensive line. Hey, maybe we're being more aggressive in our pass sets this week. Instead of being explained why and getting buy-in when Matt Canada was running the show, they're like, maybe I don't trust him that much. Let me go to my normal pass sets. You get protection breakdowns, Pickett, again, pressure, turnovers, things like that happen. PFF grade goes down. But when you explain the why, hey, you're doing an in cut at 6 yards this week because the corner you're going up against, he sits back a yard, or he doesn't sit back as far as normal corners. Or offensive line, we're being more aggressive in our pass sets because this defensive lineman we're going up against, he likes to jump passes down, so we got to get his back passes down, so we got to get his hands down. Right? When you explain the why, when you get the buy-in from the players because you explain the why, suddenly performance goes up. And sometimes it is that simple. I think one of the great examples of this of all time was Jared Goff with the Rams, Jeff Fisher head coach, and then Sean McVay coach. Jared Goff was a bust. Like, people thought he was just a terrible Jamarcus Russell level bust. He was god awful, terrible with Fisher running the things for the Rams. You bring in McVay, obviously different strategy, but just getting buy-in, just getting Goff and everyone around him to buy into the offense, and suddenly they're lining up the scoreboard, those Rams teams, and then they make it run to the Super Bowl one year. Look, sometimes all you need, especially if you have a talented roster, is guys just to trust the offense and trust the structure. And that's what Faulkner realized, to his credit. And that's why I think what he's done is so smart. He's like, listen, we don't need to overhaul everything. We don't even need to throw out the playbook. We don't even need to really change any game plans. We just need to get everybody on the same page by buying in and focusing on the details. I think we saw that against Cincinnati. I think we'll see that against Arizona. And I think we'll see that the rest of the way. If you look at the Steelers schedule, Miles, like I kind of alluded to, they got a great chance to get to 10, 11 wins, but maybe even 12 wins. And that definitely would put them in a strong position, not just to make the playoffs, but have a good seed in it as well.